Okay, very good. So we got here Michal Sestak. He's a video consultant for companies. So basically, his story is he started about 6 years ago as a videographer. He gained experience during 4 years in a lot of projects. Changed then into consulting for bigger companies that produced content for their clients. And he also got a lot of business insights, and that inspired him actually to be a consultant for video production companies. And now for me personally, I'm of course very, very much interested what he learned. And yeah, so let's start with that. First, welcome, Michal. Great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm definitely like thanks a lot for the introduction. Like that's exactly how it was. Like that's also what inspired me to even get into this, because since I was a child, I was like very creative. I was drawing, painting, and then of course start with photography and video production. And I can imagine that a lot of people relate, you know, if they're videographers now and they're watching. Like I really struggled on the business side, you know, actually marketing myself, getting these clients, knowing how to charge them, you know, like actually turning my passion into real income, into a real business. And then through the years, I was like, I got pretty successful myself. And then I also was working with a lot of companies where I got even more into the business side and gained the insights. And yeah, exactly this. So like that's really what inspired me to start now consulting for video production companies, because I saw that they still have a lot of these things that they're struggling with and that they're not even aware of. And, you know, since I went through this journey, I was like, okay, now I have to do something. I have to, you know, put my knowledge out there.
Okay, great. That sounds very exciting. So I'm eager to know now more. Let's understand a bit more. What's about the struggling? What exactly are video production companies struggling with?
So I would say like there's three main points, and even like maybe there's like one core problem that then leads to all of these three other issues. And what's most important is that there's like identity conflict that most creative people, like most videographers and you know, photographers, they think of themselves as artists, which is of course like perfectly fine. That's also why they started with video production. Maybe that's how they started their business. But then they are not naturally good at you know, on the business side. They're not entrepreneurs, and they also don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs, and you know, naturally just are kind of afraid to go into this side, which of course just is very limiting in their potential and how good results they are able to achieve. So the first thing, which is very like crucial, is that they, even though like the production quality can be like very, very good, and they really produce amazing videos and they're really creative, they kind of like fail to position themselves and their offer, and you know, target a specific niche or an audience, and you know, then like they might even get clients, but then they often have the problem that the clients are not ideal, or maybe they don't enjoy the work so much. And then, you know, through this, they kind of also lose the passion for what they're doing, right? Because then maybe it turns into like, yeah, now I have to shoot only for the money, but it shouldn't be this way, right? So like that's the number one thing. Like you really need to position yourself, and this like falls into the category of like professional branding, like your website and social media, what you stand for, what kind of clients you want to approach. Because a lot of people, a lot of businesses, they don't even know themselves, like who is their ideal client. And then of course, like how can that work? Like how can they attract these ideal clients if they don't know themselves, like who they actually, you know, want to speak to?
Okay, so you actually experienced, I mean, I can also talk from my own experience, especially when I started with a video production company. Somehow I didn't get really qualified leads in form of either the price was always a topic, you know, it was always about cheap production, but I rather wanted to have quality production. I wanted to have clients that are aware of the quality, that also value the quality, and also therefore I could grow. So what are or how would you help now these video production companies specifically to actually, for example, get more or the better qualified leads?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. So as you say, like the first thing is just look into your strengths and what you're naturally good at, and this can range from like video production companies can do either animations or like short films or commercial films, whatever that is, drone footage. So like really look what's your core competence, and then also like what you really enjoy doing, and then also see like where on the market you can position yourself in this field, because it can be that you're like super passionate about I don't know, shooting. I can't think of an example, like some super weird thing that nobody wants and nobody's willing to pay for it. And then of course you can't even wonder that you don't get these clients because there is just pretty much no market fit into what you're doing. So
yes,
like the first step is just like really looking what you're good at. And then also like, if that makes sense from the business side, if there's actual demand for that, how high is the competition, let's say, what, like in what you want to do. And then also like if there are enough clients that are qualified, that are like premium clients that are also willing to pay good money for what you have to offer, and that, as you said, like really value your work. Because then you also have to think beyond the video and not only focus on the actual shooting and producing, but also like what problems do you solve with that video. Like the bigger problems you solve, the more valuable that is, like the more valuable your service is. So that's
that
kind
makes
of
sense.
these 2 points, and then like really communicate that almost aggressively, on the outside, and just don't be afraid to just like really be unique and stand out. Because as you said, also like I guess for whoever's watching this, we kind of shot 2 interviews, like one when I interview you as well, so that's probably also very valuable to watch. So that'll be on your channel somewhere. And you also talked about this, that just videos anywhere and everywhere, and people's attention span is just rapidly decreasing. I think it's like now at this point lower than a goldfish, which is pretty crazy to think about. So just don't be afraid to be very unique and very bold, and just present your core message out there, so that also your ideal clients are able to see you and get notice basically who you are and how you can help them. And this way, you pretty much like attract these clients. Of course, it's not easy. It's like not automatically, like as also many people think, like, okay, let me just put up my website and then magically my ideal clients will start calling me. That's also not how it works, but I'm also going to talk about it a bit later. But like this is the first core message, like really stand for, like really stand behind what you what your vision is and what you want to communicate on the outside.
Do you have any ideas? Because it came to my mind, the most valuable clients are the returning clients. Do you have any advice on this topic from your experience? Like you produce a video, you make great work for one client. How can you actually make it possible to make him or turn him to a returning client?
Absolutely. And I thought about this recently, as well as like look back in my own experience, because when I was actively shooting and doing video production, like 70%, I would say, of my clientele were like, recurring big companies. And then I was, let's say, their go-to person. I was doing this back then in Germany, and I had like 2 or 3 like big companies throughout Germany. And then, whenever they needed some commercial shoot, they just called me. I knew that they're reliable. They knew that I can do the good work. So the number one thing, it's quite obvious, like your work has to be really good, right? Like if they look at your videos, they have to be 100% satisfied. And here, just develop this craft, like really put everything into it. And then the second point of what many people fail to realize actually is like you as a person, like how well you're able to understand the client, how well you communicate together, like if you really care about them. Because there's also a lot of companies or just individual videographers that maybe they're in the business for the wrong reasons, and then maybe they just shoot videos for themselves kind of, and they kind of enjoy the creative process. And then whenever the client has some kind of comments about that or adjustments, they kind of get frustrated, like, okay, I don't want to make these changes, like I'm the professional here, just take it or leave it, which is definitely not the case. Like the client is always number one, and whatever you do, you do it for the client. And then if you really have this core belief, then also the client will feel that. And then of course, like if everything's perfect, if they're satisfied with your work as well as with you as a person and how well you establish the connection together, then of course it's also in their best interest to keep working with you. Because like it's a lot of chaos or a lot of spent time and money just always keep finding new videographers or production agencies. So if you have a long-term client, especially a big client, then yeah, it's just perfectly beneficial for both sides to just keep the relationship going.
Okay, Michael, that sounds that makes sense. So also we see that there is obviously potential for many video production companies. And how would you transfer this your knowledge to them, or better, why should they actually get a business coach, and how would this exactly, how would this picture look like when you can describe this?
Yeah. So as we discussed, like in the first point, like most video production companies, they still have trouble, let's say, on the business side. And even though you're making, let's say, anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, like there's still room for improvement. And that's kind of the thing, that if you're good in one thing, then also like many videographers, they feel like if they now focus on getting clients or communicating with clients or the project management, then this only takes away focus from their creative work. Which of course like nobody wants, and it's not good to do it this way. So that's why like you don't have to be a professional marketer or like an entrepreneur. Like you can definitely just stick to your core work, passion and what you're good at, but then just hire someone, just have someone that can really help you on the business side and like provide you with this perspective. And that's exactly what I do as a consultant. So as I also, what is important for me to educate the client as well, like to know exactly what they're doing, because the idea is that they kind of like go through this phase where we establish their like very strong positioning, branding, marketing. So we establish different channels and ways that ideal clients get in touch with them. And then the third point is that they actually make the sale. So like the third very important step is the sales knowledge, so they actually turn these potential clients into real paying projects, which is also massive. Like this is also a very big problem or a bottleneck for a lot of agencies, that they just can't speak with their clients. As weird as that sounds, I still see a lot of companies that they maybe have their prices online. You probably also have this from your experience, that they have like listed prices for production online on their website. Or when the client sends them an email, and then of course like the first question is like, how much does it cost? And then they immediately communicate the price via email. And this way they completely lose all the control, because as soon as they give out the price, then all the power and control is on the potential client side. And this usually never works, because now the client only, like the potential client only focuses on the price without knowing any more details or how valuable yours actually is. So then that's kind of like to summarize this. What I do pretty much is just like really look into the business and like help analyze all the bottlenecks and the blind spots, and then provide a perspective, first of all, on what can be done. So we establish the initial strategy, and then also I educate the CEO, let's say, or like the manager, on why certain things we do a certain way. So then let's say after 2 months, after 3-4 months, they now have the full confidence to do everything themselves. Of course, like it's still beneficial to like provide a long-term guidance, let's say, because there's always like different things that you can do on the way up. But at least now they have the full confidence that they can really focus on the creative side and still be very profitable and successful on the business side without actually feeling overwhelmed, or that there is like too many things going on.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I make that experience also for myself, for our company, that me personally, I get lost in the productions, in the administration, and in all the paperwork, and at the end the creativity lacks, and so I'm always asking myself, what can I do about that? Should I get a mentor? Should I just meditate? Should I, whatever should I do? Should I do more meetings with friends and exchange idea? But I think we don't have to forget, it's about creativity, but it doesn't work without making the sales. So at the end, it's so much coming together. It's so complex. And I have the feeling that you really can give a lot of value to video production companies which struggle exactly what you just described.
Absolutely. And they're like my kind of my core message is that I help the businesses increase their profits and their revenue without actually losing focus from the creative process. Because at the end, just having someone from the outside perspective, someone as a consultant like me, from their position, like if you're in the business, if you yourself like view the business and reality from different, like from your own perspective, then you're also completely blind to different possibilities and different blind spots. That's also a video that I shot recently on LinkedIn. And that's probably the main benefit of having someone from the outside, like a qualified consultant, like telling you, hey, just do this differently. Or I had cases where business was already pretty successful. Maybe they were making like 10, 15, 20K per month. And then I just told them, like, based on the analysis, based on, their business, like, hey, just instead of doing the call this way, just do it slightly different way and then see how it works. And then they try this and then immediately like increase their let's say conversion rate, before they could close, let's say 40% of the potential clients, and now suddenly jumped up to 60%, or 70%. And then like, I let you do the math, like it's a massive difference, just by changing one thing, let's say, that's otherwise they would never be able to come up with this, right? Because they just, since they never made this change, then also like, there is no way that they would be able to make it by themselves.
I see that a lot. It's not just important to have an expert consultant in the field, but also somebody who has an outside view, because you just get blinded, because you are always living in your cave, and it's so important to get the expertise from outside. So in order to wrap this up, where can actually videographers, video production companies get in touch with you? What's the first step to do?
So the first step after watching this video, if you are, let's say, a freelance individual videographer or photographer, then I think the best place is my website or LinkedIn. So the website is michalsestak.com, or on LinkedIn, just linkedin.com/yn/Michael. So here it's spelled a little bit differently. It's with EL_Sestak. And then, you land on my profile, you see exactly what I do, and then you just reach out to me. So either you're just like individual videographers, and then that's like a separate thing. I have actually a complete mentoring program for individual freelance videographers, or if you are a CEO or like a decision maker, manager of a video production company or creative agency, then LinkedIn is definitely the place to go, or my website. And then I offer these like initial free consultation calls where we can really talk about your business. We can dive into it. We can analyze what you're struggling with, what maybe are your strengths that you kind of forget to focus on. And then based on this, I can provide you with this initial strategy. And then if you say this is good enough, then definitely just, go and implement that. And if you would like my help long-term, then we can also see if that's possible.
Okay, that sounds of great value. Thank you, Michael, for all that great information. And
thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Bye.